here. So I had to add myself to the stage. So you guys, tonight I decided that I was going to use StreamYard so that I could stream across multiple platforms. And so if you'll bear with me and give me grace to let me just check and make sure that I'm working on at least 2 of the platforms that I know I can check and have access to. I thank you for grace. So I'm Garlinda Price. I'm so excited to be here with you all on tonight. So I do see that I'm live over here on YouTube. So if you have any questions as we're going through tonight, what I want you to do is, of course, put your questions in the chat. But also what I want you to do is look over in the chat and it asks the question, are you ready to learn real estate investing strategies? Are you ready to invest in real estate? That should be a yes and a yes, right? And so tonight, I'm going to preview the course really quickly, but I also want to share with you, how do you go about looking for real estate investment properties, right? Because it's one thing to say, you know what, I'm interested in learning how to invest in real estate, but it's another thing to figure out where do you go even to start to find the property. So I'm just going to be checking my phone to make sure that the volume is where it needs to be. And then we're going to get started. Let's see. Okay, so you can hear me live and in Memorex, right? Y'all remember that? That's telling my age. Okay, so hello and shout out to you all over on LinkedIn. Shout out to you all here on Facebook and shout out to you all over on YouTube. Super excited to be here with you on tonight. I'm Garlinda Price and I'm the broker and owner of Fusion Properties LLC, from the capital to the coast, your realtor for life. I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am and why I'm qualified to teach the course on real estate investing. And this is a beginner course. So if you're someone that says, you know what, I've always wanted to invest in real estate, trust me, I hear it all the time. Hey, I've always wanted to be a real estate investor. How do I find properties? Where do I go? What do I do? Literally, I hear it all the time. And so I want to share with you that I'm a short sale and foreclosure resource specialist certified in working with short sales. I've successfully helped my clients close and successfully avoid foreclosure with anywhere from 75 to 100 short sales. At one point, I was known as the short sale queen because nobody wanted to do short sales. To be honest, I didn't either. Right? I say that all the time, but the Lord was like, ma'am, I need you to go do short sales. So that's what I did back in 2011 through 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. And so when I did my last short sale, I was like, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. If you know, you know, right? And then also, I'm a certified distressed property expert. What does that mean? I know how to find foreclosures. I know how to bid on foreclosures and auctions. I understand how to work with the bank. At one point in my career, Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America would actually send me their clients. I work directly with asset managers, so I understand the process of purchasing foreclosures, how the foreclosure process works. At least for the state of North Carolina, every state is different. Some states are what we call foreclosure states, and then there are other states that are deed of trust states. North Carolina is a deed of trust state, right? So I talked to you about that in the course, which we're going to get to. I'm also a certified investor associate specialist. I'm certified to work with investors, right? And so I understand what investors look for. I understand how to analyze a deal. I understand how to look for property. I have been certified in those 3 areas for the last I've been a licensed agent for 16 years. I've been certified in those areas for the last 14 years. So I pretty much know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that to boast or brag. I'm saying that because the Lord called me to this area, into real estate and to real estate investing, to have an understanding for my clients. And then I became an investor in 2006. I'll go back and talk to you about that in a second. Right. So then I'm also a certified international property specialist. That means that I have not accounts, but I have, it says, looks like your stream isn't showing up on LinkedIn. They're working to fix it. Okay. So sorry, LinkedIn. Hopefully they'll get it fixed. Okay. So then I'm also a certified international property specialist. That means that I have contacts around the globe. Specifically, I've worked with people in Germany. I've worked with people in Japan. I've worked with people over in Dominican Republic. And I've worked with people over in Mexico and Punta Cana. So I have contacts around the globe if you're looking to invest in real estate in other countries, not just in the United States. So super excited about that. And then what is another designation I have? I'm a certified resort and second home property specialist. And that was kind of a selfish designation because I love the beach. I love beach homes. Anybody that knows me, you already know that my desire is to own a beach home, and I'm going to own a beach home. My goal is to own it this year. Be it the will of the Lord, right? So because of that, I was always like, Lord, bless me to sell properties along the coast of North Carolina. And so I've sold properties all the way down to where it touches South Carolina, down by Little River, all the way over to the Crystal Coast over on, what is it called? Down in Swansboro. In Emerald Isle. So I love coastal properties, but I'm a certified resort and second home property specialist. I know what it takes to invest in your vacation home, to look for a vacation property. And in the course that I'm talking to you about tonight, I actually talked to you about Airbnbs and vacation rentals and verbos and where that market is going. And is it a good market for you? And if it is something you want to do, how do you go about doing that? And then finally, I'm a certified luxury home expert. So those are my credentials. I invested in my first investment property back in 2006 with my husband. I talked to you all about that in the course. And my business partners at the time were my husband, my twin sister, along with a ex-boyfriend now, right? But a boyfriend of hers at the time. And we pooled our resources together in order to fund and purchase our very first investment property. And so I understand what it means when someone says they don't have the money, but they have the credit. They don't have the money or the credit, or they have the money and the credit, but they don't have the know-how, right? So super excited about that. So I'm sharing all that with you to share that the Lord has blessed me in 16 years of being a licensed real estate broker and firm owner. I know what I'm talking about, right? And this is my 36th year in business. So super excited to be here with you. But tonight we're going to talk about Kingdom Real Estate Investing 101. But I'm going to talk to you about where do you go to find the property. So the course that I created 2 years ago was because the Lord said, Garland, I want you to put your knowledge into a course so that people that have no experience with investing in real estate can go from point A to point B, go through the course, understand the process, and be ready to bid on and or purchase, because not all foreclosures or not all real estate investments you have to bid on, right? Just depends on the property you're looking at. But to go from point A to point B to be able to buy their first property. And so if that's you, welcome. Super excited. If you've bought many properties, this is probably not the course for you, but maybe you can learn something. I do find that in every area where I'm teaching, if you teach once, you learn twice, okay? So let me show you the course right quick. Welcome to all of you all that are over on Facebook and YouTube. Hopefully they'll get it together with LinkedIn and you'll be able to join as well. But this is the course. And so before I'm going to share my screen, that's what I need to do. So before I share the screen, just know that the real estate investing course link is over here to the right, over in the chat on StreamYard. If you cannot see it, no worries at all. I will post it in the comment section right quick. Give me 1 second. Oh, you can see it. Okay, so if you see where it's live now, but I'm going to copy and paste it right quick over on Facebook so that you can see it. So there's the link to the course. And then I'm going to post it over on YouTube so that you can see it as well. And then that way, in case we get disconnected for whatever reason, you will have access and you can see it. Okay. So the Kingdom Real Estate Investing 101 course was designed with you in mind by unction of the power of the Holy Ghost, right? So I know that sounds a little churchy, but it's true. I'm never going to separate who I am and who I'm called to and who I'm called to be from the Lord. Business and Lord, they go together. It's called marketplace ministry, right? And so the Lord said to share with you that millionaires are made during a recession. I've been saying that. I'm going to keep saying that. Millionaires are made during a recession. Now, we haven't in our country been formally called or told that we're in a recession, right? But when eggs are $9.99 to $15 across the country, we may be heading towards a recession, right? But that's not the time for you to draw back. That's the time for you to educate yourself and create a strategy, begin a plan. I remember when I launched Fusion Properties and I opened my real estate firm back in 2011, I went and asked, what's the word say, seat-wise counsel. And I asked a friend of mine, do you think that now is a good time to open a real estate company? And the advice they gave me, they said, Garlinda, millionaires are made during a recession. Go for it. And so I've not looked back. Now, have there been days where I'm like, what the crap am I doing? Absolutely. But oh my God, I thank God that I listened. And so we've invested, Marvin and I, my husband and I, we've invested in houses. We've invested in mobile homes. We've flipped trailers. We've been landlords with trailers. We've been landlords with physical residential locations. And so we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we've flipped little houses that were maybe 1,000 to 1,100 square feet. And I think the largest house we flipped and renovated was 2,700 square feet. And then also we were on the DIY network, hoping at the time to get our own show. It was called Price to Sell. And we literally flipped a property that it had its share of ups and downs, but that house was built in the 1940s, I believe, 1950s. And we took it from a 1-story home to a 2-story home, filmed it on the DIY network, and here we are today. So I share all that with you just to let you know that you're in good hands with me and my course, okay? So the Kingdom Real Estate Investing course is a $297 course. It looks like it ran together in the words, but it's $297. It's normally $498. So I took $201 off the course, and you can pay 3 different ways. You can pay $297, or you can make 4 payments of $74.25, or you can make 10 payments of $29.70. And guess what? You have a year to take the course. So if you're a busy professional, or you're someone that says, you know what, I just don't have a lot of time, you have a whole year to take the course. So let's look at the course right quick. Let me go figure out how to share the screen. My first time using StreamYard in a long time. So we're going to share our screen. Let's go and click this tab and hope that do it, Jesus. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to look online to make sure that I can see my screen as well of what I'm sharing with you. But this is what the Kingdom Real Estate Investing course, 101 course looks like. So when you decide, yes, I want to invest in the course, whether it's the $297, the 4 payments, or the 10 payments that you have 10 months to pay for a course and a year to access it, you would click on this link, you would click on sign up. After you sign up and you create an account, then it's going to take you to the payment options. Then you're going to register. And once you register and pay, you have access to the course. So look right here. Now, but this is, you didn't even pay yet. You have access to the same link I just put in the comment section. And it's going to allow you to preview the course. So you're going to get to, so the ones that you see preview, those are the ones that you can open up and actually take a look at. So let's click on preview right quick so you can look at it. And this is just an introduction to me and a little bit about me. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I've been married to the man of my dreams for 27 years, together 36 years. We have 2 children. I have a 19-year-old. I have a 22-year-old. Super excited. I have a dog, right? So I'm a puppy mom as well. So when you click on preview, we talk about what is real estate and what is real property and what does that look like. And then there's 22 to 23 verses that actually talk about real estate investing. And then creative ways to invest in real estate using a realtor, using a for sale by owner approach, or assumption. I talk about those things in the course so that you can understand there's more than one way to find a property. You don't have to go through a realtor, but I recommend you use a professional at all times and a licensed professional that understands and has worked with investors. That's your best bet. If you don't know anyone, contact me. If you're in North Carolina, I'm your girl. But if you need someone in a different state, let me know. Again, I have real estate partners across the country. And then what are creative ways to invest in real estate? Right? I talk to you and I teach you on the subject to the lease with option to purchase. What is wholesaling? I talk to you about that in the course, okay? And then understanding options, foreclosures, tax liens, etc. I talk to you about that in the course. Why is that important? Because whenever you're going to invest in a property, you got to know the best time and you got to know the worst time, because there's not always a great time. It's not a good time to buy properties during an auction. It's not a great time to buy properties when they're pre-foreclosure, right? You don't want to learn that lesson the hard way. Trust me, there are plenty of people that have that t-shirt. You don't want to be the one wearing it. Then I talk to you about property trends for investors in the course. I talk to you about converting real property into a business, right? How do you go from point A to point B of, I have a W-2 job, now I want to become a full-time real estate investor after I retire. What does that look like? How do I create that into a business, right? Understanding property taxes, what tax incentives are put in place by the government in the tax code in order for you to take advantage of and work towards not owing taxes or not owing as much taxes or decreasing your taxable income. Real estate is the way to get there. Right? Identifying good investment properties, which is what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm going to show you where do you go and look for real estate properties. And then within the course, I have interviewed a couple of our really great friends, my sister in Christ, Rochelle James, another really great friend and sister in Christ, Mona Powell. And then how do you analyze the property for profit? Because you make your money going in, not coming out. You've probably heard that. If you make a bad investment with real estate in the beginning, it's going to be bad when you come out. There's really no way to kind of fix that up. So it's super important that you buy right the first time. Then we're going to do some property walkthroughs. In here, I actually walk you through properties that I'm looking at for myself and or for a client. I'm teaching you how to research markets, right? I help you create a property finder system. How do you get the money? Show me the money, right? So I talk to you about getting loans and mortgages and working with hard money lenders and or pooling your money and resources together. Where do you get the money from in order to purchase and invest in real estate? But tonight I'm going to show you how to find the properties. But tax benefits for real estate investors, the business structures to set up, maximizing profit, funding your investment journey. Are you going to be a flipper? Are you going to be a buy and sell not buy and sell, buy and hold investor? Are you going to follow the BRRRR method, right? Which is buy, renovate, buy, renovate, rehab it, rent it out, repeat the process. That's called the BRRRR, right? And then I give you some example purchase scenarios because, you know, some people are visual learners. They need
Hey, you guys, so listen, we're back.
So the course is also set up where if you're a visual learner, there's videos. If you're an auditory learner, there's audio. And if you're someone that loves to read, you're a textbook learner, I don't know what that's called, there's plenty of text verbiage as well. So I try to take into account everyone's learning style. So there's something for everyone. And then there's an example purchase part 2. And then market research for Airbnb investors. So if you're an investor that wants to specialize in the Airbnb market, I walk you through how to do that through AirDNA, right? And then if you're interested in midterm rentals, I walk you through how to use furnish finders, right? And then there's some bonus sections that the Holy Spirit led me to put in the class. So what are the 2025 housing trends? Because you need to know this course is current. It's living. It's a living, breathing course. What's going on right now? Right, in the current state of the economy that's available to us as a 2025 real estate investor, right? Because there's opportunities in every market, right? Think about back in 2008 when the market crashed. A lot of people were losing their properties, but guess what? A lot of people were becoming multimillionaires because they scooped in and they were buying those properties up. Think about the fact, what is the stock market moniker? How does it go? Buy low, sell high. So when the stock market crashed a few weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, what did people do? Some people complained. Some people were like, oh my gosh, the president's doing it on purpose. But those that were interested in the stock market and that follow the stock market and invest in the stock market or had been waiting for their opportunity, what did they do? They got in there, they sought out the opportunity, they bought their stocks, and when everything rose back up, they made their money. Right? So let that be you. Don't be the person on the sidelines complaining about, oh my gosh, the market is horrible. There's opportunity in every market. You just have to be able to see it and use wisdom in investing in it. And don't look for back in the day. Back in the day, that same house was $80,000 and it was move-in ready. That's gone. Right? Back in the day, that same house, you could buy that house for $120,000. It's gone. Right. So now your investment property market is in the 80s to 100 to $120,000 and it's not moving ready. Now it's not a total dump, but it's not moving ready. It's not the same market. So don't be that person that gets stuck back there in woulda, shoulda, coulda, and what it used to be, because that's gone. But there's opportunity right now. If you would say, okay, where's the opportunity? What does it look like for me? Do I need investor partners or what have you? And I teach you that in the course. Okay. But don't live in the past. And then hot markets that investors are flocking to right now and why. I talked to you about those markets. And then no money, no problem, house hacking. What is it and should you try it? I taught on that last week, so go back and watch that video. And then you inherited a property or land. Now what? Right? So sometimes when people pass away, you might get left a home, you might get left land, and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do with that land? What am I going to do with that home? So that whole part of the course, I walk you through and talk to you about what you could potentially do with that home or land that you've inherited. Okay. Super excited about that. So let me stop sharing the screen so I can go back over here to see you, see if you ask me any questions. And then also what I'm going to do is I need to pull up to show you how you can look for properties. Okay. So let me type in the website right quick. Sorry about that. I had to go pull it up. Okay. Okay, so let me share the screen again. So one place that you can go to if you're an investor and you're like, you know what, I'm interested in looking for properties. Where can I go and potentially find properties? Sorry, I just got to get back to share the screen. Okay, so we're going to go to Fannie Mae. Okay. So Fannie Mae has a website where you can go, and there's so much information on Fannie Mae. So when you go here, what you're going to do is you can search for homes. There's a home buyers tab. If you're someone that's looking to purchase a property from Fannie Mae, Fannie Mae Fannie Mae is a government-backed loan, right? So what Fannie Mae does is they walk you through the down payment assistance program if you're a first-time home buyer or a new home buyer. And what they do is whenever they foreclose on a property and the property has come back to Fannie Mae, they allow the first, I think it's 15 days to be for residential buyers. And after the 15th day, it is opened up to investors, right? So you can go to this website at homepath.fanniemae.com. Or if you just type in HomePath, it'll pop up and you can look for properties on here in your area. Okay, so let's go over here. It says real estate professionals, community first, how it works, featured stories, short sales, etc. So let's go to home buyers and find your home. Let me go accept cookies. I don't know what that means, but it just won't leave me alone. So let's click on start your search now. Now, potentially there may not be any in our area, right? So what's going to happen is when you say start your search now, you're going to be able to put in an address, a city, or a zip code, right? So notice that right here, they have 662,498 homes for sale. Can you see that? And then if you use the arrow, you can go over here and you can sort by the lowest to the highest to the lowest price, the number of beds, the number of baths, the number of square feet, right? And if you wanted to, you could just go down the list and look and see what's out there. Look, in Laramie, Wyoming, there's a house for $180,000. They had a price reduction. There's an $81,000 house over here on Sparrow Street in LaBadeville, Louisiana. I have no clue where that is, right? And then over here they have a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house over in Sevierville, Tennessee. I have heard of that. And then there's Kalamazoo, Michigan. Look at that, $66,000. You have a 5-bedroom, 1-bathroom house in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And then over here in Live Oak, Florida, you have one for $314,900. Over here in Norwich, New York, you have one for $192,000. So this is where you can just look for properties in all these different areas. The other thing that you can do is over in the Kingdom 101 Real Estate Investor course, I tell you where the top markets are right now. And I have a link in there of the top 25 markets, just to name a few of them: Florida, Ohio, Tennessee, Michigan. What's another one? North Carolina, but a certain city in North Carolina. I'm not going to tell you, you got to go take the course, right? So there's 25 markets that right now are hot because of affordability, because they're like the last hurrah of where you can go and actually buy an affordable home, invest in the area, whether it be because of industry, whether it be because of industry that's moving there or the businesses that are booming there. What's drawing people there? Is it national parks? Why are people going to that area? And what's really crazy is, like, Florida used to be the go-to destination for snowbirds, right? But really, Florida, some cities in Florida are actually starting to lose people because it's getting crowded and it's getting super expensive. And Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, last year or the year before last, was in the top 3 destinations that people were moving to. Crazy, but a really great area. But it's like having its heyday, right? So super awesome. And so this is one way that you can go and look for properties. Let's just tickle my fancy and see if there's any here in the Fayetteville, North Carolina market. Let's see. So see, when you go to put your area in, it's going to pop up. So look at that. There's one in Hope Mills over on Grandison Court. There's one over on Prestwick. That's a gorgeous home. 4 bedrooms, 4 baths. There's one over in the 28306 zip code. Okay, 2 bedrooms, 3 baths. Now, that doesn't sound right, but unless that's a townhome or a condo, which it looks like it could be. So it might be 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. So you will need to verify your bed and bathroom information. But see, there's some over here. There's one in Rayconda. Ooh, one on Dunn Road. That's right down the street. Okay, so 2 bedroom, 1 bath. Then you have Ellie Avenue. That's a really great neighborhood. That's pretty over there. Lufkin Circle. I love that side of town. That's North Fayetteville. And then you have Sandrock Road. That's out going towards Hope Mills, I believe. Yep. Out near the airport. Then you have one on Waterwood. And so look, so you have opportunity right here, or at least we have opportunity right here in our area. So save this website, take a screenshot. This is homepath.fanniemae.com, and you can go there to look for houses. So let me stop sharing and pull up another website where you can go and look. Give me 1 second. So I'm hoping this is super helpful to you guys, but I want you to know this is where you can go and look for properties. Now, your realtor can help you with properties, right? So let's go to realtor.com. So you can go to realtor.com, and some people will prefer Zillow, but I'll share with you as a realtor why it's better to start at realtor.com. And that's because realtor.com updates every 15 minutes. Right? So it pulls directly from our multiple listing service, or our MLS. And if you search on Zillow, which is a really great platform, but they're over on the West Coast, and they're a marketing organization that pulls from public data, right? They don't pull directly from the multiple listing service because they're not realtors. Okay. So if you're looking for the most updated information and updated housing, go to realtor.com. I believe that realtor.com owns homes.com. Don't quote me. But let's go and look for a property on here. We want to buy a home. So let's go to homes for sale. You can actually click on foreclosure, but let's go to homes for sale, and then we can filter out. Okay. Let's type in Fayetteville again. What's that? Oh, my mousey thing. Thank you. Oh, that's why it wasn't working. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mouse wasn't acting right, so now we figured out the mouse-capade. Thank you, Poo-Poo. Okay, y'all, because I was struggling without a mouse. Hold on. Okay, so if we go to realtor.com, and then what we want to do is we can put in property type. So you can search any house, condo, townhome, multifamily, mobile home, farm, or land. So whatever it is you're looking for. So let's say house. Done. And then we can go into the number of rooms. I'm not going to do any of that. We can go to listing status. Let's go to foreclosures, right? Because again, we're looking for an investment property. Let me write myself a note. So to invest in real estate, don't just think foreclosure. You know, a lot of times I'm not sharing my screen, y'all. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. A lot of times people think foreclosure, but there's some non-foreclosure opportunities. I wrote myself a note so we can talk about that. Okay, so let's share screen right quick. Go to realtor.com. And when you go to realtor.com, I typed in the city. I typed in that I'm looking for a house, and I typed in I'm looking for foreclosures. Look, it says 0. That sucks. Let's see if Durham, North Carolina has any foreclosures. So when you come over here and you're on realtor.com, you're just going to put in what you're looking for. Okay, so Durham has 2 foreclosures that are popping up on realtor.com. Okay, so I put in the city. I put in what I'm looking for, and I put in foreclosure. I didn't add a whole bunch of other details, okay? Because I don't want my search to be so tight that nothing comes up. It's better to have a broad search and then work your way down, okay? So I walk you through and teach you this as well online. So look, so there's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house that's 1,357 square feet in Durham. It's listed for $191,700. Now somebody might be like, good Lord, that's high. And it is kind of high, but why is it that high? Is that because of how much they owed on their loan? And if not, what's the resale value, right? So because there's so many numbers that you have to put in to figure out, is it a good buy? What's the after repair value? So let's say you bought that property, you bid on it, and let's say that you got it for, most of the time the bank wants to get back 88% of their money. That's when you get to a short sale. But let's see, 191,700. And let's say right now the bank wants back 94% of their money. So you could potentially get it for $180,000, right? $180,198. But what you want to know is after you put in the money and fixed it up, because it looks like it needs to be painted, it looks like it has some things going on with it. Let's click it and see, right? Okay, so they only have 7 photos. Let's see what all 7 photos are looking like. Okay, so just at first glance, you see right down here along the baseboards, the paint job's not that great, okay? Also, the floor has a hole in it right in here. I don't know if you can see that or not, where my mouse is. Let me make my screen bigger so I can see what you're looking at. It's going to catch up if you don't see it yet. So there's a hole right here in the floor. So let's see what else we have going on. So all that vinyl, you're going to tear all that out. All those cabinets, it looks like all that. So you need a new countertop. You don't need new cabinets, but they do need to be sanded and painted, right? So as I'm looking at properties and I'm teaching you how to look at properties, we will be looking at all this stuff. And then look right down here underneath, go to where the dishwasher is and come to the right of the dishwasher. All that looks like it's rotted out with water damage. So you'd have to replace all of that trim down under there to make sure that the cabinets aren't rotted out, that water hasn't gotten down there and damaged all that stuff. And so that's how we look at the property and start to assess it if we were in person, right? So listen, it's a solid brick home. It looks like it has a brand new roof, which is the aluminum or metal roof. So that's already been addressed and taken care of for you. It's on a huge lot. It does slope. I don't prefer properties that slope because when they do, the water comes towards the house. And this has a crawl space. However, it also slopes down to the side. So as I'm looking, if I was looking at this, I'd be looking at that. I don't like sloping properties. It may not matter to you, but look, you can even see in the backyard that it looks like it slopes down. So just things to think about that I talked to you about in the class. Okay. So again, before you hop off and leave me, the class is Kingdom Real Estate Investing 101. It's $200 off. So right now the class is on sale for $297. You can make one payment of $297, 4 payments of $74.20, or you can spread it out over 10 payments of $29.70, and you have a year to take the course. So that's pretty awesome. So look over here, like your baseboards are missing down here in this room, which looks like this is the eating kitchen area. And then, you know, of course, that's your sliding glass door. It looks like on this side, the, what's that called? It's fogged up, which means your oxygen seal has been broken in that door, which is more of an aesthetic than it is an actual issue. Just FYI. So it looks like maybe they started some work and didn't finish it. And so your subflooring is exposed. So with the flooring missing, you wouldn't be able to use an FHA. You wouldn't be able to use a VA. This would be an investor loan. These are the original windows, right? So as I'm looking at, let me see if we're stuck because I don't see the screen moving. Okay. These are the original windows. So as I'm looking at this and I'm pricing it out as an investment, I'm pricing out, okay, I'm having to replace all these windows. Also, this still has a baseboard. So is it on baseboard heat, or is it a heat pump? Is it central heating and air? And they just left the baseboard there. So you need to look at all of those things when you're considering an investment property. And I teach you that in the course. Okay. So it's showing you now a different vantage point. So I don't know if a fire took place in here, because notice how this is all black and kind of sooty, and it was kind of sooty over on the cabinets. And so that's something to take into consideration. Whenever you're buying a property, also when you're getting insurance, they're going to tell you if there was ever a fire in the property as well. So see, this yard slopes. It may not matter to you. It matters to me, but it might not to you. looks like the crawl space, like you can walk under the crawl space. You can look at this door right here where my mouse is, where I'm moving it around like this. I'm gonna let the screen catch up right quick. You have a walk-in crawl space, so it looks like it's pretty large under there, because look, even your crawl space vents are up here. So these are the things that you're looking at, you know, when you're looking at purchasing a property. That unit, I can't really tell how old it is, but it'll tell you when we go to look at the description. Okay. So just something to think about. So what we're talking about tonight is where to go look for properties. So you can go to realtor.com and you can go to homes.com and you can search and you can put in your search criteria. Okay. And then you can also do some research about that area, like what's going on in the area. So there's so many updates and things, not updates. There's so much information you can look at over on realtor.com. Okay. So let me stop screen sharing right quick. Okay, so just one more I'm going to show you. So you can go to homes.com, realtor.com. You can go to HomePath, Fannie Mae. You can go search on there. But let's go to HUD.gov, okay? So I'm pull that up right quick. And HUD.gov is where you can go and search for HUD properties. But guess what? There's all kinds of properties. There's foreclosed properties. There's regular residential that's been sitting on the market forever and a day that you can buy. There's probate deals, right? Probate properties where someone's passed away and now the property is being sold in probate. I don't do a big class on that or a big section in the class on that, but I talk about it and you can do it, right? And then where else? There's trustee properties. There's REO bank-owned properties. There's I'm trying to think of what it's called, federally seized properties, right? Where maybe they got seized in a drug deal, like, and now the U.S. Marshals has the property. Do y'all remember back in the day? I remember this when we were in high school, when they would seize drug dealers' cars, and then they would put DARE across the car, and they would paint it with the logos of the DEA and things like that, and they're riding around town using the drug dealers' cars marketing, right? So those same organizations have their surplus property that you can buy. So there's all these different things. So let's go to HUD.gov and let's look at one more where you can purchase properties. But let me open it up right quick before we get there. So their website's changed just a little bit. I think it's HUDhomes.gov. Let's see. Okay, it's HUDhomestore.gov. Okay, so that website's changed a little bit. So HUDhomestore.gov. Let me share the screen. And this is just one of many, right? These three, I should say, are three of many. So let's go to HUDhomestore.gov. And this is where you can go to search for properties, okay? So in order to buy a HUD home, you have to go through a realtor. You can't go directly to HUD and purchase the property. You have to go through a realtor, and that realtor has to be registered with HUD and have a HUD ID, okay? So there's a process around that. So let's see if there are any in our area in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And we're at HUDhomestore.gov. There's one. Okay, so with HUD Homes, you have to actually bid on the property. Now, you won't even know the agent that has it listed. Shout out to all my foreclosure listing agents, right? When the agent has it listed, they don't even know if the property offer that you've submitted is being considered. The only way that you know that your offer is being considered is HUD is only going to go back and forth with one person, one buyer at a time, and they're only going to counter you once. Right. So let's say we see how this property is listed at $159,300 over on Inverness. Right. So if I write an offer on this property and let's call it $140,000. Right. I write $140,000 offer on this property. My offer looks favorable to HUD. Then they may counter me back and say, no, we want $155,000. They're not going to counter me again after that. If I decline their offer, I decline their counter, they're going to the next person in line. They're not going to keep going back and forth with me like a regular traditional seller. So just know that whatever offer you submit to HUD, if they counter you, they're not looking at anybody else's offer at the time, but you got one shot, right? So if y'all don't come to an agreement on price, that's fine. It may not be a good deal for you. You got to know when to walk away. I talked to you about that in the real estate investor course, okay? So that's 3 websites that I've shared with you that you can go and look for investor deals. Okay. So again, Kingdom Real Estate Investing 101 is the course. You can see the link to the course, and it's $297, or 4 payments of $74.25, or 10 payments of $29.70. You can pay it monthly over the next 10 months. You have a year to take the course. Tonight, we talked about places where you can go and find properties, right? Not just foreclosures, because what I want you to think about is there's more than foreclosure opportunities. What if somebody owned a house that was their mom and dad's house or their grandma's house, and now they don't want it anymore? Maybe the grandparents or the parents got sick and they moved in with the child, and now they need to sell the house. What if someone passed away and now they inherited the property, but they no longer want the property or the land, right? And then I talked to you about no money down deals last week, but in the course, I teach you also about no money down or low money down transactions. So tonight I shared with you homepath.fanniemae.com, realtor.com, and hudhomes.gov. Those are 3 places you can start to look for properties if you're interested in becoming a real estate investor. But the first thing I would encourage you to do is take the course. Find out what you don't know. Invest in your education. That is what is super important. First is 90% success is preparation. It's 10% execution. How do you prepare? You learn everything that you need to learn. You get your questions answered, and you walk through the scenarios in the course. You learn everything, and then you go out and start the process of saying, okay, let me start looking for a property. Most people never take action. Okay, so not just foreclosures are things that you can invest in, and you can invest in condos, you can invest in townhomes, you can invest in a house, a mobile home, manufactured housing. The difference is manufactured housing is made in a factory just like a mobile home, but it's on a permanent foundation. You can invest in RVs and land, right? But I'm only talking about vacation rentals. I'm talking about in the course specifically residential real estate and land. Okay. So, and mobile homes. I'm talking about all those different property types. And so you're going to learn so much, whether you're interested in short-term rental ownership, mid-term and long-term rental ownership, whether you're interested in purchasing foreclosures, whether or not you're interested in purchasing bank-owned properties, whether or not you're interested in a vacation home. Do you want to be a landlord, or do you want to flip properties? I'm educating you on all of that in the course. So thank you guys for your time tonight. I hope you all have a great week. And for those of you that are moms, I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day. Message me with any questions that you have. And my phone number is 910-494-7798. You can find me right here on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. And I'll see you guys soon. God bless you. I'm Garlinda Price, your favorite real estate investor and real estate strategist. Talk to you soon.